reflection from the different books that we've read, written by two well-known authors, A.J. Lafleur. Thank you very much, David, and also Roger L. Martin. I'll just jump into it because I'm not going to spend too much. This year, I want to introduce myself. I needed to have added doctor to that list. So I'm an Oxford business strategist, a UBIS ambassador of honors, a founder and a CEO, and also the director for public sector and governmental partnerships for ISN. I'm going to be walking you through this first insightful chapter. Strategy is a choice. But before I do that, I also love to introduce the author. We're going to be reading a book that is written by two authors. One of them is called A.J. Lafleur. Is actually his speech writer to Gore, right? The vice president as at the time of Bill Clinton. I think I get that. I got that correct. So who is A.J. Lafleur? He led P&G from 2000 to 2009 and later returned around 2013 to 2015. He also oversaw one of the most successful corporate turnaround in modern business history. So he has very, deep pedigree in marketing, in commercial landscape, and also in strategy. He grew P&G market value by over 100 US billion during his first tenure. Okay, we need that kind of grace. I need that kind of grace. I wish somebody can say that about me. So I need that kind of grace. What is strategic perspective? Strategy is practical and execution driven, deep belief in consumer-centric strategy. And then he also emphasizes focus, trades-off, and accountability. Why is his voice relevant in this time? Lafleur is not an academic theorist. And you know the difference between, I think myself and Nenlap, we always talk about it. For those who are not playing in the field, you don't know what it feels like, to experience the everyday challenge of an entrepreneur. When you're an academic, theorist, it's quite different. So he applies strategy at scale. Now, the where to play, how to win framework was used daily inside P&G, and we'll get to see it even from the first chapter. His experience proves the book's thesis: clear choices drive superior results. And I want to be able to make the right choices, and hence the selection for this particular book. The second writer, his name is Roger L. Martin. Now, he is a renowned strategy thinker and former dean of Rotman School of Management. He is the former dean from the University of Toronto, one of the world's most influential strategic thinkers, long-term advisor of CEOs and boards across industry. What is his strategic perspective? He's known for integrative thinking, holding opposing ideas. I think that sounds like pharmacist Nenlap. He's creating better non-obvious solutions, right? He's focused on choice logic, decision making, and coherence. Why does his voice matter? Translate complex strategy into clear, usable framework. Bring intellectual discipline to executive decision-making. Ensure strategy is repeatable, teachable, and scalable. I think if you combine the prowess of these two individuals, you really get a clear direction and framework. And that's why we have the book, Playing to Win. So I'll just jump into the conversation for tonight. And I'm going to spend not less than 10 minutes so that I can hand over the mic to the next presenter, pharmacist Nenlap. Strategy is a choice. And that's the opening for chapter 1. And the book tries to explain what strategy is and what it is not. Strategy can seem mystical and mysterious. It isn't that. It is easily defined as a set of choices about winning. When we make choices, when I woke up this morning to take a work, it was my own choice to stay healthy that informed my body to get out of bed, even though I love to sleep, to take a work, right? So it's a set of choice. Again, it is an integrated set of choices that uniquely position the firm in its industry so as to create sustainable advantage and superior value relative to the competition. Specifically, strategy is the answer to five interrelated questions, and we're going to look at those questions. So on the screen, I have those questions, but we're going to discuss it later on um, as the presentation evolves. What is winning aspiration? What is your winning aspiration? What do you want? The purpose of your enterprise. You have to consider yourself. What does winning look like to you? What does it mean? And what is the purpose? How does it motivate you? And two, where will you play? Because we have a lot of variable. If you've been in the calendar analysis, I always love to use the Pareto principle, right? I play at 20%, put my effort at 20% to be able to get 80% result. So where will you play that you think that you're going to achieve that aspiration that you're looking at? How will you win? The way you will win on the choosing playing field is the question that comes up at number 3. And then 4 is what capability must be in place. The set and configuration of capabilities required to win in a choosing way. This year I had my own, team. And one of the questions that I always ask is, what do you need? What do you need? If you're going to take up a particular responsibility, what do you need to be able to win? And I think that is very important. How do you enhance yourself to be able to win in the marketplace? And then 5 is what management systems are required. The system and measure that enables the capability and supports the choices that we are going to be making. So we're going to look at it in details, but let me bring up the case study that was referenced in the book. And that case study is one that is quite interesting for those of us in this very experienced age. They say we shouldn't say we are old, we just say we're very experienced. We all know the product called oil of Olay. So there's a case study. Oil of Olay is a product from Procter and Gamble. P&G has a variety of, global skincare brand, and oil of Olay was actually one of those products. And in the early 2000s, Olay's growth had shown, some decline, huge decline. They had market confusion, a diluted brand positioning, competition from niche premium skin, care brand. And the conversation was really deep. Actually, the name was not Olay's, it was actually oil of Olay. And it was oil for old ladies, right? That was the way it was tagged. Oil for old ladies, because that was the perception in the marketplace. Oil for old ladies. So it was positioned for the elderly, even though women after 50s are the one that pays premium for skincare. But they only pay premium for skincare because of wrinkles. So most of the premium brands were positioning their brand in that direction. Oh, you do this and you would, relieve yourself of wrinkles, or you will age backward and stuff like that. But the strategic challenge for P&G was, how do they win with Olay? It was a brand that was already dwindling in the marketplace. The return on investment was very low. It was not a cash cow if you compare it to its competition. And they wanted to see where they could position the skincare product. So it was really a very tough conversation. And you have different, leaders coming into the boardroom to say, okay, we need to reposition this product. Now, the question was, should it target premium? And I just mentioned the premium class, being able to pay for this product were, ladies over 50 plus and thereabout, or should it target the mass market? The likes of our teenagers will never be able to pay for a product, of this kind. So many companies would attempt incremental fixes, but P&G wanted to have a focused strategy to drive a winning outcome. So what they did was they made a set of choices where to play. They wanted to focus on women over 30 in the developed market, where the brand has the highest heritage and relevance. Yes, oil for old ladies, okay, fine. Let's stay in that particular field. However, the choice not to compete aggressively in the mass market younger segment or in the lower income phase. So you choose and focus on where you really want to play. Where do you want to play? Because you have to have a niche market, right? And that was exactly what they did. Now, how to win? Differentiation via signs and visible results. These guys went back to leverage on research and development. They rebranded the entire, you know, oil of Olay. Instead of oil of Olay, they called it Olay. So oil for old lady became Olay. So the positioning is niche at this point and can penetrate every level of the geographical landscape. Marketing emphasizes anti-aging efficacy and skincare innovation. Even though they sticked at that with research and development, what they now did was to create different value proposition. So it was not just you using their product to reduce the fine lines, the wrinkles. However, if you use the product, your skin will be smoother and all of that, and you look younger. So capabilities aligned. They invested in consumer insight research, and that was where they got to have real intelligence on where to position their brand. They found out that women needed much more than just an anti-aging cream, or just to position it for wrinkles. Women needed much more. You wanted a softer skin. You wanted to look much better. You wanted to look more radiant. So they invested on customer insight research. They strengthened R&D pipelines for anti-aging product, which was also a niche that they wanted to focus on. And then they improved marketing and distribution capabilities in targeted geographies. So let's look at the results. Clear choices allow Olay to regain leadership in premium skincare, and they began to benchmark actually their prices with the premium brand. Marketing became more focused and efficient. The strategy reinforced P&G broader approach. Winning comes from choice, not trying to do everything. If you look at the pictures over time, you see the branding and how they have evolved from one product line to the other. It was really very clear and niche. It's not what we used to know it as. What are the key takeaways? Clarity of focus drives performance. Trying to compete in all segments leads to diluted result. You must have trade-off. Trade-offs are very necessary. So, and I will give you an example from my perspective of 2025. There are lots of things I didn't do. A lot of things that I planned that I did not execute. Why? Because I felt there were other priorities that was, supposed to be given much more attention than the things I would have done. And I think overall, you need to understand how to make this trade-off. And that was exactly what happened. It was deliberate for Olay to be able to make all the necessary trade-off, what to choose, what not to choose in terms of packaging, in terms of being focused, in terms of the market they wanted to play at. So it was very critical. Strategy alignment matters. Marketing, R&D, brand positioning must reinforce the strategic choice. So when you do all that, it's not just one department taking a decision or saying, oh, strategically, we're going to plan A, B, C, D. It has to be a full alignment for you to be able to make those strategic choices. So this is just a graphical representation, and it's there on the book, an integrated cascade of choices. The 5 choices I mentioned, right? What is our winning aspiration? The purpose of the enterprise. And you can actually use these choices to reflect on your year, to build your goals. It's very important, right? The purpose of the enterprise, our guiding aspiration. What is your guiding aspiration? Then where will you play? The right playing field. There are some places I don't want to be found at. There are some people I don't want to be found with. And I'm making it more individual conversation at this point. But at the level of the organization, where will we compete? Our geographies, product categories, consumer segment, channels, vertical stages of production. And the third question is, how will we win? How are you going to win? You have to have a value proposition that is unique. You have to look at your strengths, your competitive advantage, and that is how you win. Instead of competing, you look at what is unique about you, the strength that you have, your capabilities or your organizational capabilities, and that is how you win. The set of capabilities required to win, you reinforce the activity. You look at the specific configuration and put those configuration in place. What management systems are to be put in place are required. You put all those management systems to reinforce the choices that you're going to make. And this is the nested choice cascade for both individual business cascade, the strategic group cascade, the corporate level cascade. It's the same question. It's the same set of questions. And you can, like I said, use this as a model to really sit down with yourself to plan your goals for 2026. And I think this is a very important cascade. What is your winning aspiration? Where do you want to play at? How do you want to win? What set of choices or capabilities do you need? And what are the systems you have to put in place? I would say I already started with the last one, putting system in place. Nelap, you know me. I've been putting system in place around me to fortify, my winning aspiration. And it's very critical that you have the system to be able to win. What are the key takeaway? Strategy is a choice. You have to make that choice. You have to make the choice, not just to be busy. You have to make the right choice to win. You must understand what trade-offs are. Know what to avoid, know what is necessary, know what is not, what you should pack and what you should not pack, what you should go after with your whole heart, I think is very important. And you need clarity today to prevent failure for tomorrow. My biggest slogan for 2026 is to stay calm, because I believe that if you're calm, you see opportunity. If you're calm, you can make the right call. It's not every call you need to make, right? But if you stay calm, you actually can make the right call. So understand that strategy is a choice, and the entire organization have to pull weight together for you to succeed. And the key takeaway is to go back to the 5 questions that have been discussed in this book, from the aspiration to the set of management system that you need to win. So I bring my conversation to a close. Questions will be taken later, but I want to hand over the mic very quickly to our next presenter, Pharmacist Nelap.
Wow, Princess, thank you so much for that beautiful presentation, very concise. And it's clear you took your time to read that chapter and come up with key insights from that chapter. Well, I was also supposed to present chapter 1, I believe. Strategy is choice. But
Chapter
you've
2.
done justice to it. No, it was actually 1. I don't know, David, maybe David.
Chapter 2.
Can David confirm? Because I was a bit confused when I saw I think from the
Hello.
schedule, it's chapter 1. Maybe there was a mix-up, David.
No, I think you were supposed to
So,
present chapter 2.
so from the book chapters,
Ah,
there's introduction and there's also chapter 1. So Pamela was
ah,
supposed to take the strategy
Kalas.
first. So
Overdo.
you've done
Overdo.
justice to
Nelab, you
the
don't
strategy.
finish the
Over
Okay,
syllabus.
okay.
Oversyllabus.
So, but if Pamela have one or two
Nelab, yeah,
additional
take over, do
takes,
the summary and
Yeah,
you
take
can
the
do the summary for
questions.
yeah.
us.
So
Well,
yeah,
Dr.
I think you
Princess,
have
well done.
covered. You have actually covered, just about everything. I also have in my presentation about how strategy is a choice and the 5 questions we need to ask ourselves, when making that choice, when choosing our strategy. For me, I'll just add a few more insights that I had into the chapter. I'm going to add it to what you have presented already. So in the course of the reading, when I looked at these choices, a lot of the times, the choices we have to make are hard choices. And many times the writer says we confuse strategy with planning. Planning is about the budget, what you're going to do. Planning supports the strategy. It supports the choice you make. So it's after the choice has been made, then you begin to plan to ensure that whatever strategy you have comes to fruition. Now, there's a question the author also asked. He said, why choice feels uncomfortable? And the truth is, choices really, a lot of the times, choices are quite uncomfortable. Why? Choices need accountability. You need to be accountable. Choices disappoint a lot of people. Sometimes when you choose to go a certain way, a lot of people, family, close friends, so many people around you actually, get disappointed because they feel pushed out. So sometimes making a choice, is difficult. It makes making a choice difficult because you want to everybody, you want to make everybody part of that decision, which is not always possible. So the author also talked about con strategy traps. So he talked about long strategy documents. Many times we sit down, we plan 5-year strategic plan, very long documents, and it's so cumbersome that the truth is that in the end, we cannot actually achieve any of those things. There's no differentiation, so we're not able to make a single choice and stick to it. So it's also a strategy trap. Now I understand this fully. I don't know if a lot of us that have worked with the Nigerian civil service, you sit down for days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you're talking about 5-year strategic plans. And at the end of the day, you know that nothing actually happens. So it's a trap. You have a full document, a full book, but it's useless. So copying best practices is also another strategy trap. He says if everybody is copying best practices, I mean, nobody is doing anything differently. There's really no differentiation in the end. So there's nothing new. At the end of the day, we all remain in the red ocean where we're just competing based on price because everything is actually the same. Then trying to serve everyone, Princess talked about it. It's also a trap. Differentiate your market. Who are the people you're trying to serve? Or, as in the case of Oil of Ole, what they just wanted the best product for skincare, premium skincare. That was all they wanted. Whoever was interested in that, go and look for your money and come and buy. So, it's not about pleasing everyone, but about that value proposition, that unique differentiation that you have. Then confusing goals with strategy. The author also says that sometimes people feel vision statements are strategies, which is not the case. I can my vision statement for year 2026 can be, I am aligned, I am rooted, I am grounded, I grow. But that is not a strategy. It doesn't really, it's not a choice. What are the choices that I'm going to make to ensure that I meet that goal? So there's also the power of saying no, which Princess talked about during her presentation. For Oil of Ole, they were able to say no. They decided to say no to a lot of things. They said no to low-end markets. They said no to price wars. They said no to brand dilution, which Princess talked about. So it's important that we should be able to say no to a lot of things because we have made a choice, stick to the choice, and as Engineer Ken says, make consistent efforts and relax. Just stay on course on that choice and you can achieve, whatever it is you have set for yourself. So for me, this is a personal thing. The insight I got from this chapter, it's in the end, I realized that the choices we make is about behavior. A choice has to change your behavior. And it doesn't apply to businesses alone. It applies to our personal lives as leaders, as workers, in whichever area, whichever field we find ourselves in. Strategy is about choice, and choice must affect behavior. So in the end, if you say you have a strategy and you say you've made a choice, if your strategy does not change how your time is spent, how your money is allocated, and how your decisions are made, then that is not a strategy. It's just talk. Because your choice must change your behavior. So when you look at it from a leadership lens, a personal leadership lens, you can see that strategy, of course, which is choice, applies, like I've said, to leadership, to careers. And when you begin to avoid the hard choices, making the hard choices, you will not change behavior and nothing changes. So strategy, choice, behavior. So my key takeaway would be strategy is an integrated set of choices that position you to win. Choices change behavior. And if your behaviors do not change, it means your strategy is just talk. So, thank you very much. Thank you, Princess, for giving me the background. I'm glad I was able to do this in 5 minutes. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Over to you, Princess.
Wow, beautiful. I was just listening as if we were back to the classroom. It was so good to, to just have the first shot at this particular conversation. And I am hoping that you all enjoy reading this book. It's very insightful. If we stay on course and read this book, I'm sure we will be very, very enlightened and we can change the course of the year by just making the right choices and decision. Over to Oluwatoyin, our president, to give us a wrap up. I think we will close at 10:20. I'm still using my Dubai time, by the way. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Princess. Wow, that was a banger, I must say. It was I was blown out, like Maru said the first time, like my head was almost busting. Let me use it. Let me use this language. Yeah, thank you so much. Great presentations from both of you. It was quite clinical. And the insights from those presentations were very clear, concise, and basically giving us the writer's perspective, the writer's intent. It's in Nenlap's closing words, our strategy enhances our choices, and our choices enhances go forward to enhance our behaviors, and those behaviors are what shapes us or shapes our results. So very quite well delivered, I would say. Princess, as always, I enjoyed the flow of, the delivery. I enjoyed the mechanical, quite way of going through it and ensuring that nobody. I could see that nobody left the presentation. That tells you how, and we are already 18 minutes over our timing. That tells you how captivating the presentation was from your viewpoint. Thank you so much for a good job. I think you're giving me the job of concluding for everyone. So because of our time, I thank you for a good job. I think we should give both Princess and Nenlap their flowers. I could see Engineer Ken say it was the bomb. I think this one, I don't know if it was David that put it together, but this team is a cheat team or cheat code. You put you put two of our best presenters together, but it was a great start. We love it, and I believe that those who were not here today, I believe we can push it forward for them to go listen. At the same time, for those who have joined, thank you so much for being here, and I hope that we'll keep showing up for the rest of the week to get more insights, to dig through this very, very, very motivating book, I must call it. There's a lot in it. For me, the key takeaway was the fact that from Princess's point of view, I think she said something. I'm just trying to recall now. But also, I think from Nenlap's point of view, she talked about the choices. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Trying to bring everybody into making, your decisions, and it will definitely, you can't carry everyone along. You cannot make everyone see your choices as fitting into their own boxes, basically into their own everyone cannot accept your choices, and that's where it all begins. So if you're putting up a strategy for this year, just know that even in some cases, your second half or your better half or your partner may not totally align with your choices. So you have to find a fine balance of trying to get it done in a way that you'll be able to carry them along to some extent, but at the same time you are banging through your strategy. You're making sure that you're seeing results, because it's results that will make them align eventually to your own side. Because if you don't have results, unfortunately, you get kicked. You get kicked everywhere and say, "Oh, I told you." So basically, we have to find that fine balance while making our choices. I'll just stop there. Thank you so much. Princess, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. I think David is presenting tomorrow. I hope we don't make the same mistake. It was good that his introduction at chapter 1. So yeah, so that was a very good flow. Now, I just wish just should have
Don't repeat the
just
same mistake. Me and
we should just done one presentation or like how about
don't repeat the same mistake. Me and
so the three
Mr.
of you are
Felix,
presenting
we
tomorrow,
are aligned.
and
We are aligned.
I'd like to inform you that there are a couple of new participants that will be joining the boardroom, and we will stay on course this year. It's better to finish our syllabus and do over syllabus than, not, completing the whole book repository that has been picked for 2026. If Maru can read 4 books in December alone, that should tell you that we're supposed to be reading 48 books now. But the benchmark is just 12, and everybody have their own literature to pick from and also to dissect. So we will stay on course. Please, HOD, you need to help us get the new schedule, so that as we finish back to back, everybody is, scaling off, because we also have the Ramadan coming up very early in February, and most likely we're not going to have section. That's a full month of no section. So it's better we read, 2, 3 books ahead before the holiday begins. Yeah. So I think that's the game plan. So Yes, thank you very much for tonight. It was wonderful to see everybody, to touch base, to get inspired, to be motivated. Iron sharpened iron. And I wish you all the very best of 2026. I pray it's going to be a good year. It's going to be a great year, not a good year, a great year, a very great year. I wish you guys the best. Love to your families. And yes, bye-bye for now. See you guys tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.